Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn will call on the government to bring its plans for negotiating Brexit to Parliament without delay. In a speech to trade unionists and activists on Saturday, he will say there needs to be more transparency over how Britain will leave the EU. The High Court ruled on Thursday that MPs should be allowed to vote on triggering Article 50. The government has said it will appeal against the decision. Secret deals. Speaking to the Class think tank in London, Mr. Corbyn will say his party continues to accept the decision of voters to leave the EU. But he will call for transparency and accountability to Parliament about the government's plan for withdrawal. Thursday's High Court decision underlines the necessity that the Prime Minister brings the government's negotiating terms for Brexit to Parliament without delay, Mr. Corbyn will say. Labour accepts and respects the decision of the British people to leave the European Union. But there must be transparency and accountability to Parliament about the government's plans. I suspect the government opposes democratic scrutiny of its plans because, frankly, there aren't any plans, beyond the hollow rhetoric of Brexit means Brexit. A better way forward. The Labour leader will accuse Prime Minister Theresa May of reaching secret deals over Brexit with companies such as Nissan, which confirmed it will build 2 new models at its Sunderland plant following talks with the government. He will insist that any assurances given to the Japanese company should also be available to other businesses. We can't have secret deals on Brexit, company by company, Mr. Corbyn will say. All our businesses need the kind of assurances that Nissan has had about the shape of the government's Brexit plans to make the right investment decisions. No more shabby deals. Mr. Corbyn will say the Conservatives have delivered 6 wasted years of austerity and savage cuts while Labour is promising £500 billion in investment over a decade in infrastructure improvements to railways, housing, energy, and broadband. He will call on Chancellor Philip Hammond to use this month's autumn statement to back up the Prime Minister's pledge to help ordinary working-class families. Mr. Corbyn will say, a country that doesn't invest is a country that has given up, that has taken the path of managed decline. A Labour government will manage a renaissance in investment, in infrastructure, and in industry. Labour offers a better way forward that meets the needs and aspirations of our people in 2016, not a 1980s, or even 1950s, never land. The Labour leader will also hit out at tax dodging by describing it as an act of vandalism against the most vulnerable in society. He will say there would be no more turning a blind eye, no more shabby deals under a Labour government. The government has said MPs would get a say over any final deal relating to Brexit. But it is challenging the High Court ruling that states Parliament has the right to vote on whether the UK can start the process of leaving the EU.